If all your retirement is tied to the market, you are leaving yourself very exposed. One market crash could wipe out years of growth and it could drastically affect your retirement. But the good news is there is a way to retire that does not rely on the market. Hey guys, it's Chris from the Hidden Reserve, and in today's video, what I'm going to be talking about is how to create a lifetime paycheck without the stock market. And this is so powerful to layer in for those of you who are entering into retirement, or maybe those of you who are already in retirement, is looking for ways to get guaranteed income. And there's the first thing I want to really cover, and this is going to be more of me just freeballing off the top of my mind what I think is important. But number one is, most of us have all of our retirement sitting in traditional retirement accounts, whether that's 401ks or IRAs. There's nothing wrong with that. The thing that we often undermine is the fact that all of our retirement, what we're banking on, is completely exposed to the market. And going back to 2008, imagine you were the one that retired in 2008. Maybe if you're watching this too, you did retire in 2008 and you had to unretire and get another job to make ends meet. And I bring 2008 up, and I'm not trying to just put that on a pedestal, but it's so important to look back at that time, because a lot of people going in retirement thought, okay, I have enough money saved up. This is how my lifestyle is going to be based on the amount of money I have. But then the year that they happen to go to retire, the market just plummets. And that drastically affects the amount of income you can take and overall how long your money is going to last throughout retirement. Just from one bad year, you can have multiple years of the stock market doing well, and then you just have one big bad year during retirement that could drastically change everything. So that's just something to be aware of. And I'm a fan of traditional retirement accounts. I have nothing wrong with 401ks and IRAs. What I think is important to have a conversation around is, what do you have in your retirement portfolio that's guaranteed, and what do you have in your portfolio that's completely independent of the market? That's a conversation that needs to be had a lot more, because we've seen what having all market-based investments or retirement accounts has the effect of that in the past. And we can mitigate a lot of risk by layering in guaranteed income strategies to our retirement, creating a paycheck that lasts for the rest of our lives. And now you may ask, well, how do you actually create a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of your life? And it's by using annuities. So if you're not sure what an annuity is, it's essentially, to keep it very simple, you're trading a lump sum of cash or giving a lump sum of cash to an insurance carrier, and in turn, they're going to give you a paycheck for the rest of your life. And the payout factor is different for everyone, but as of recording this right now, I've been seeing some pretty high payout factors. Like, I'm working with a lady right now who's 62 years old, and she wants to retire at 67 years old. And when she goes to retire at 67 years old, she has a guaranteed payout factor of 7.2%. Meaning, for easy numbers, if she put in $1 million into an annuity, the insurance carrier is going to guarantee her a payout factor of 7.2% for the rest of her life, which is $72,000 a year for the rest of her life. So even when she gets to the point where she completely depleted the $1 million she gave to the insurance carrier, she's still going to receive a $72,000 payout every single year. And that's the power of annuities, is the insurance carriers taking on all of the risk when you transfer this money over to them, because they have to make sure that they're investing that money wisely and getting enough return on that money to be able to pay out that guaranteed rate of, in this case, 7.2%, which equates to $72,000. And the other thing that they have to fulfill is, even when you deplete the amount of money you gave them, they still are obligated to pay that guaranteed rate to you. And that's the one thing you have to know about the insurance carriers and annuities, is they don't want you to live very long. And I try to make light of this, because they are guaranteed and they're on the hook to give you that check every single year. So they want you to kick the can as soon as possible. But the longer you live, the more money you can extract from an annuity on a guaranteed basis. So it's very, very powerful, because and now tying it into market-based investments or market-based retirement accounts, if you have a down year, or let's say the first year you go to retire, the market drops 20% and you have $1 million in your 401k. Well, instead of drawing income from your 401k when the market's down, if you prior set up an annuity that gives you an income stream, a guaranteed income stream, a guaranteed paycheck that's enough to cover your lifestyle, that is such a fantastic position to be in, because when the market's down, you don't have to tap into your market-based retirement account. You can just let it be, let the markets do its thing and recover over time. Meanwhile, I'm getting a check every single year that's enough to cover my lifestyle, and I don't have to tap into that money over there. So that's the power of having a guaranteed check for the rest of your life, is because you don't need to base your lifestyle, your way of living, off of the other retirement accounts you may have. Okay, that's just so important to wrap your brain around. And another thing to layer in too is Social Security. So you have a guaranteed check from an annuity or annuities, depending on the scenario. And then you also have Social Security coming in. So that's powerful. If you can design your lifestyle around guaranteed income, it just gives you way more peace of mind knowing I am good. If my 401k, or rather the stock market's down, it's not performing the way I thought it would in retirement, I'm still good because I have guaranteed money coming in that's enough to cover my lifestyle. Okay, and that is just such a good feeling. And again, I'm not talking about removing 401ks, IRAs, and transferring all that money over to guaranteed income. That's not what I'm talking about at all, nor I think that's quite foolish to do that, quite frankly. I think having a diversified retirement portfolio is really important. You need to have equities, you need to have guaranteed retirement income. I think they both go hand in hand, and both are equally as important. They solve their different purposes. But the one thing that's missing from most people's retirement accounts is layering in that guaranteed check that lasts forever for the rest of your life. And especially if you're married too, there's different ways, different annuities you can set up where they're joint life annuities, meaning you and your spouse will get a paycheck for the rest of your life. So let's say it's you and your spouse. When one of you passes, the other is still going to receive a guaranteed check until they pass away. So there's many, many different types of annuities out there. They're definitely not for everyone, and there's not one that's a one size fits all. Everyone's scenario is different. That's why it's so important to have conversations around your exact scenario to figure out which ones make sense and how could you actually layer them in properly to your retirement portfolio. But that's ultimately what I wanted to explain today, is the power of having the guarantees inside of your retirement portfolio. And there's a bonus I want to add into this as well. Now, this isn't a guaranteed paycheck for life, but there is another guaranteed vehicle out there that I think is very powerful to layer into your retirement portfolio, and that's utilizing whole life insurance. With whole life insurance, you get a guaranteed rate of return on your money every single year. And plus, if you're with a mutual insurance carrier, they will pay you a dividend on top of the guaranteed rate that they're paying you. And if you're with the mutual carriers I work with, they've all been around for 100 plus years, and they have track records of paying dividends every single year for 100 plus years. And dividends, and I put emphasis on that because the dividends from the carriers aren't guaranteed, but there are carriers out there that have paid dividends for over 100 plus years straight without missing a single year during the worst economic times out there, the Great Depression, COVID, 2008, like we were talking about. They paid dividends during those years, and they've been consistently profitable through those times. So yes, it's not guaranteed to get that dividend, but I mean, 100 plus years of track record, it's pretty close to, it's as close to guaranteed as you can get. Technically it's not, but I mean, is the sun going to come up tomorrow? That's how most of these insurance carriers are in terms of, are they going to pay a dividend? But I want to talk about this because whole life insurance is another guaranteed product that you can layer in strategically to your retirement portfolio. Again, it's not for everyone. I want to put emphasis on that. It's not for everyone, but it's very powerful for the right individual. But essentially what you can do is you can build up cash inside of your whole life insurance policy. And when you have a down year in the markets, similar to the annuity, instead of tapping into your market-based retirement accounts, your market-based investments, you let them be, give them breathing room, give them time to recover, and instead you can tap into your cash value inside of your whole life policy. And I like to call it a volatility buffer, because when you see volatility in the markets are down, don't tap into your market-based investments, tap into the whole life and receive or draw money from that. And that's another way to supplement your retirement income. So the way I like to look at it is, if you can somehow, ideally, get your basic living expenses, your lifestyle covered by guaranteed income from annuities, like that is ideal. If not, if you can have a mixture of your guaranteed annuities, Social Security, and then if you need to, you can layer in the volatility buffer, the whole life insurance. If you can do a mixture of those three to cover your living expenses, that is a fantastic spot to be in. Ideally, you want your annuities and your Social Security to cover your guaranteed income, but if you need to add the whole life in there too, great. And also, last thing I want to say on whole life insurance is, as a volatility buffer, you can also use it not for retirement, you can use it as a vehicle to help with investments. Because the market plummets and you need access to capital, well, you can tap into your whole life insurance policy and use that money to deploy in investment opportunities. So that's the last thing I wanted to add there. But to circle back to the whole point of the video, you need to have a way to weave in guaranteed income into your retirement portfolio. And ultimately what it's going to do for you is just give you peace of mind knowing you have money for the rest of your life. It's not tied to the stock market, and it's just something you can count on for the rest of your retirement years. So I hope this video helped. If you do have any questions about anything discussed in today's video, please leave them in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to help you out there. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post videos like this every single week, and there's a little bell you can click too, a notification bell. You can click that, and every time I post a new video, you'll get notified. And then last thing too is, in the description of the video, if you want to see a custom blueprint around guaranteed retirement income for your specific situation, there's a link in the description that'll say 72-hour blueprint. If you're a business owner, there's one for you. If you're not a business owner, there's a different link for you. But just click the link. There's a quick survey to fill out. And once that survey is filled out, I'll go in there and I'll build you a custom guaranteed income retirement strategy. And I'll record a video going over the strategy for you. I'll send it over to you so you have that information. And I'll get that to you within 72 hours. If that's something you want to see, just click the link in the description, fill out the survey, and I'll get that over to you as soon as I can. Again, hope you got value from today's video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. God bless.